Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hopefully, we didn't startle you guys. We're back after about hour break. We're ready to go with our final set of the evening here on, what is it, Thursday? It's Thursday, right?
Yes.
It's Tuesday. Okay, it's Thursday. We've got
Can
ourselves
confirm.
Robert Morris going up against Bowling Green State. It's the or Colonials, rather, versus the Falcons, not the Patriots. Wanted to say the Patriots. These are two teams out of the Midwest, though, here proper that we have, at least I have not had a chance to watch. It has been a little bit of a rough go for Robert Morris so far. They're 0-2, have not won a map yet, but for Bowling Green, they're 1-0 after a 3-0 map count start. But I will say for Robert Morris, they have had a tough go of it. They had Grand Valley State, and they also had Butler. Excuse me. Two pretty decent squads here in the Midwest as we take a look at their roster.
Yep, got Robert Morris right in front of you. The Colonials. Going to be taking a look at that Reek, Silent, J Mill, Pryon, and Brutus. Looking to make some waves in this Midwest division. And I'm not going to lie, Shift. I mean, you already hit it ever so wonderfully. There's a lot of juggernauts inside here. You got Grand Valley State plus Concord Maroon is at 4-0. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take a look at the roster of Bowling Green State University, the Falcons. That team we were talking about in between you and I, and even poking at it at the beginning of the broadcast. This is a college coming into the COD scene looking to make a profile for themselves. They have started off 1-0, 3-0 in the map score, regardless of how that went or not. You got Kingdus, Blaster, Smiley Slays, iRanger, and then CG Tactics.
Yeah, and for this Bowling Green team, we have not really seen them be tested yet. I'm not sure who they got their first win against, but their first three scheduled matches were expectations are probably not very high. St. Clair, SIUE, and Shawnee State were their first three scheduled matches. They only had a chance to play one of them so far. But again, none of those three teams were really looking at to be major contenders here in the Midwest. And they kind of have a good go of it here as well. I mean, this Robert Morris team a little bit unknown as far as, the College COD League goes into this year. So an opportunity for both of these teams to really kind of set themselves up, taking a look at where we're going to go for our series set. It'll be Gunrunner first with a hard point. That'll be a pretty good look to see what our teams have as far as the fundamentals and basics down. And then we've got Oracle on Peak, Search and Destroy, and at least Hackney Yard Domination. And if we need a fourth and a fifth, it'll be Hackney Yard Hard Point, followed by the Petro Search and Destroy.
I really want to make it to a fifth map. I love St. Petro Search and Destroy. You know why I love it. I mean, I love sniping battles.
I actually have no idea why you love it.
I love well-timed smoke pushes and even more well-executed AX-50 shots through smoke grenades. I got the pleasure of seeing it a handful of times through Modern Warfare thus far, and well, it really gets my skin jumping, I'm not going to lie. But that's exactly why I like to see Oracle off Peak as well. We got to see in the previous series what well-trained AX-50 play can do for that map in particular. Regardless of the matter, a lot of close-range battles here. Hackney Yard, double time over with Gunrunner, hardpoint shift. You're going to be expecting a lot of explosive battles as far as the mid lanes are concerned through SMGs, as the meta likes to be based around.
Yeah, 100%. And I think generally speaking, when you take a look at this map set, you'll get a pretty good look at what each of these two teams have to offer for the whole season, at least to start things off, right? We are still early. It's just week 2. But you don't want to get behind the ball. So for Robert Morris, you really don't want to go 0-3, again, in a very tough division. Currently, as far as the standings go in the Midwest, we actually need these teams to play more because, to be fair, there should have been going through 3, if not 4 matches so far. Most have only played 2. Concord Maroon currently has not dropped the map, sitting at 4-0. But the Illini Orange team out of the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana also 3-0, 9-0 on their map count. And like I mentioned, Butler and Grand Valley State also up there, 2-0 for Butler, 6-1. Grand Valley State 1-0 at 3 maps to 0 losses. I imagine that was probably who this RMU squad had played up against. And then you've also got Liberty Red, which is not a team to sleep on. A handful of teams that have not lost the map yet. But again, like I mentioned, the sample size is not very large for our top 5 squads. With Liberty and Grand Valley only playing 1 match, Butler only playing 2. So again, early on, I think this is one of those matches that you look at it, if you're either Robert Morris or you are Bowling Green, you say, we have to win this game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, not to mention, again, like Bowling Green coming in here looking to make a name for themselves, and this is their first CCL series. But Robert Morris, again, starting off 0-2. I mean, starting off far from behind. We talked about this with ULL in our previous match in this day alone shift. You don't want to be falling too far down too early on, especially when you do have juggernauts. You already said with Illini Orange, Concord Maroon being inside this Midwest division can already cause some troubles and some quakes in your boots, if you will, depending on where you stand as far as footwear. But Just waiting for the players to all gather inside the lobby and to start things off. I'm still very interested to see just the overall profile as far as weaponship is concerned too. Even in earlier matches, it seems that with Hardpoint, a lot of teams are playing around with whether it's a triple M4 or the double, if not down to the straight up single. But I think here heading into Hackney Yard, especially for Hardpoint shift, you would probably not stray too far away from the double AR if you need be, but the solo is just almost always necessary, especially going in between P2 and 3, looking at smokestack. That jump peak from the police car looking straight down the mid side is way too valuable to pass up.
Yeah, and I think, again, just with this current meta, M4s do play a very important role, but at the same rate, if you're not able to swarm around the map with SMGs and influence these spawns, influence the initial or late scrap time, depending on what the situation is in front of you, you could find yourself behind the ball. And that's why I think a lot of the reason that, we were so questioning the early setup that we saw from LSU on Petra with the XL Beast rocking the big ACOG scope. We just don't see very much of that. We see more SMG gameplay coming at the top level. But let's be candid. For a lot of these schools, it is a hobby, first and foremost. This is not the main focus for them whatsoever. So you play with what you're comfortable with. You're probably not getting the greatest, if much, practice whatsoever. So you come in with what you know, and hopefully that's good enough to beat your opponent. So again, I was waiting on our match to start here. Gunrunner Hardpoint up first. Interested to see who's going to spawn on the favorite side of the map, and if they can, again, work the fundamentals of the mechanics to make sure they're holding on to those spawns to get that first big munitions depot hardpoint, which is our first usually full hill that you like to get to. It will be the side of the Bowling Green Falcons to start things off, and they didn't like the way that started, so we will back out and try again. You're right.
Yeah, you get the family meal plan. You show up and you're just like, I wanted the mashed potatoes. You take the mac and cheese, but my God, that was just not what I was expecting. I'm not gonna lie, but what I would be expecting, especially looking at the spawns there, regardless, just to push that point even further. Much like Gunrunner Hackney Yard and how it's played with Hardpoint exclusively for those first 2 sets of rotations of Hardpoint sets, and P1 being inside the warehouse, unless you don't get a definitive wipe and you don't get the backup coming through, it's really hard to lock that one down. As you know, most teams, when they do spawn out on the backside of office over by the yellow side, you're typically going to want to go ahead and just back yourself up all the way around and head towards the other side, so that way you can set up for P2 inside the tire shop. It can definitely help out in certain circumstances, but we've also seen the explosive rate of which teams can just force their way into P1.
Yeah, and okay, waiting just in the lobby to start things up. And again, you just take a look at some of the schedule that's coming up for some of these squads. For Bowling Green in specific, things are going to get a little bit more difficult as they're going to be going up against Purdue here in the near future and Ohio State as well. The University of Northern Iowa looked pretty decent for the battle for the Hawkeye State we saw in week number 1. And really, they've got a pretty split up schedule because they don't play the Illini squad or Concord till the final couple of weeks. It's also where they've got Butler. So they've got a little bit more of a balance, which you're hoping, again, you look at this matchup versus Robert Morris, you're able to take this one. For RMU, though, they've got Ohio State coming up as well as LU, which would be a tough one. And they've got Concord Maroon in week number 5. But it's really the end of their schedule that really kind of feels like they're going to get the biggest grunt of their force. They got Purdue, Northern Iowa, Marquette, and the Illini Orange squad in their final 2 weeks. So again, it's important, I think, and we try to hit it as much as we possibly can, that early season, it really does pull the difference between usually a playoff caliber team and not. If you can get these wins that you need to have, again, if neither of these teams are sitting in the top 5 by the end of the regular season here in the Midwest, you look back on a matchup like this, if you're Robert Morris or if you're Bowling Green, say that's one that we need to have.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and again, those later rounds, those later weeks, rather, depending on how easy the matchup may be, that's how we can speculate it now. Again, teams are forever adapting. Teams are forever learning as the game is so relatively new to formal play. Again, we just had our first CDL event over in Minnesota, so teams still have a lot to learn from the trickle-down system as it may be. But we are underway. No team shots, no bloodbaths in spawn. It's going to be Hardpoint starting off.
And I like the initial strategy here for Tactics to get into the boiler room, cut off the mid-rotation, clears off the mid-heady. That's going to do well for his squad. You also got Smiley as the player up top at the AC. He finds one, but not the second. Tactics will get rewarded a second gift of a kill. And again, will very wisely turn. Not able to get the bullets in, though, as Rector will be able to find him, no problem. Or React, rather, I should say. But again, the early 50-50 time on this platform hill usually goes pretty neutral. It will here as well. Cryan doing what he can to work into the bathrooms to maybe start influencing the backside of these spawns. Long-range shots, decent, but not good enough for the kill. Now he's forced to play his life. He's going to be double shelled, and that'll be BG getting a little bit of scrap time here at 20 seconds remaining.
Still kills coming in from the back. Yeah, J-Mill forcing their way in with their M4 through the boiler room. Good jump shots coming through there. I don't know how the team kill didn't come through. It's almost like me taking a shower, just dodging in between the water. What? That was supposed to stay in the thought bubble. Anyway, what you have here is still the rotation coming through, even off of spawn. Although it was only 8 points gathered on the first hardpoint here shift, you can take a look at how the Falcons are all set up, already inside the warehouse, in and around it. Hardpoint has swapped over to the munitions depot, as the spawns had played around for it in Falcons' favor.
And you love this if you're Bowling Green. You're able to get just a couple of SMG players circling around the middle of the map, and they all come up with big kills. So now for Robert Morris, as they spawn at Cole, it's Smiley the next foot up defensively. He'll take down one. Long-range shot's not good for the second. Not able to duck underneath the remaining shots that were coming through. So now for the Colonials, an opportunity for them to be hit from the north side. Dez will pick up the slack that was left by Smiley up top here. He'll find one kill and a second. Both of those in headshot form. Did he see the third coming across the back end over this direction? Not going to make a difference. RMU saying we're not interested anymore in this second hard point. We want to get ourselves going for P3. But unfortunately for them, the Falcons already have a couple of players that are being a nuisance here at the minecarts.
Yeah, and this is absolutely massive. I believe this will be a damn near full 60, if not it is, for the Falcons. And, well, P2 is such a big swing point as far as momentum is concerned. You saw the Colonials, they had the spawns through Boiler pushing on in into the coal mines, which the hardpoint resides in now. It immediately gets flushed out. They almost seem to have numbers advantage too, but they're never coming out on top of these gunfights. It's rotations and now spawns in the favor for the Falcons as they get the warehouse spawn. And now they have really sink their teeth into this third hardpoint.
Yeah, the Colonials trying to make one more good hit over towards the minecarts. Set nade here for Smiley. Des is still in the hill, trying to find himself a second. Will be shut down. Tactics picking up the work here. Still 30 seconds left. And Robert Morris, who continue to spawn right inside the coal area, will keep throwing numbers at this, and it will eventually pay off for them. So a break does come through. A little bit of a 3v2 to finish off the initial point time, or pardon me, the scrap point time here on our minecart hill. And with that, it looks like the Colonials will take the scrap and now look to rotate through the backside of what was initially the munitions depot of our second hard point. Tactics will scout one up top. He's got help with Smiley, who's just off to his right. And it looks like with this, the Falcons will clear out the back and make sure they can set themselves up for the cargo containers very properly early on.
This is absolutely massive. I love this rotation that we've been seeing countless times from the Falcons coming out. So a little bit of a bark back from the Colonials. They do get a couple kills, but I mean, Dez just coming in and finding, if not 2, sometimes 3 per life. That's something that's just got to stop for the Colonials every single time. Going into a new hardpoint again, finding themselves in the man advantage, immediately snuffed out, broken up, and in another break in the favor for the Falcons, who lead past 60 now.
When was the last time you heard a concussion or a nade go off? It's been some time, and
it has,
that's the first thing that I'm kind of looking at for this Colonial squad. They're not really getting outslayed too much. I mean, the SMG line for the Bowling Green Falcons is definitely winning the majority of fights, but RMU's not really helping themselves out by not tossing their tacticals and lethals that they get every life. Smiley able to lock things down in a crying at long range, almost finding a third, will be shut down before he can find that kill. But still, just a 98 to 45 point score as we go to our fifth hill. Bowling Green currently in possession of the back. React working his way towards that truck, not able to push through, and so it'll force the Colonials to spawn in the minecart.
Just the sheer SMG presence. We've seen it, and we will comment on it every single time that it comes up into conversation, and it forever will until this weapon might as well be nerfed into the dang ground. But that conversation's safe for another day shift. I mean, the SMG presence is just so clear and oppressive for Falcons that when they find themselves at least in a somewhat advantage, they just continue to push on forward, and their SMGs ringing on true. You could just take a look at the kill feed, for example, alone. Dez is at 21-9. Their AR player, Smiley Slice, is at 13-7. It just always finds these angles for free just because the entirety of Robert Morris are worried about their flanks constantly from Dez being in their side.
Yeah, and you can see it again. Just look at your minimap really quickly. There are 4 members for Bowling Green just circling around the middle of the map, trying to win the spawns from what will eventually be the munitions depot. We'll end the first rotation at a 151 to 45 point score. The hill time again, Tactics at 2 minutes and 19 seconds. He's really kind of doing it all for the Bowling Green Falcons, and for the Colonials, you just need to find a way just to get into the hill, let alone find a way to hold on to one for a little bit longer. Ranger able to put together his second kill this life. Tactics is on 4 straight. And now all of a sudden, as the RMU Colonials are a little bit all over the place, they're starting to get picked up, and now the Slade department is paying a big difference.
This double M4 setup that Robert Morris are running versus the triple MP5, or the the quad, excuse me.
Yeah,
they only have the one M4. Yeah, Smiley's their lone M4 player here for Falcons in it. And again, just to hit it again from a different angle, this is just the oppression that MP5s have on hardpoint and exclusively, or not even exclusively, just Gunrunner as a whole. The control that you get from MP5s, from Showers to Boiler to the warehouse, all the way over inside the entirety of the coal mines is just so much to pass up. Yes, you can try to lock down these rotations from sightlines, but by the time that those sightlines are already been flanked in and around, the MP5 is right next to you. And as an M4 player, when it comes to ADS speed, yeah, I'm taking the MP5.
Absolutely, and Brutus is going to try to open things up with the M4. And again, if you're going to try to open up with an M4, you cannot be sprinting into the hill. You got to keep your gun up the entire time. So the first 15 seconds, we'll go to Bowling Green. Fresh kill feed for them. All 5 players for the Colonials do drop, but now coming off the spawn, looking to find a way to break. Trades back and forth will give an opportunity from the south side of the munitions depot here for the Colonials. Tactics trying to hold his life for as long as possible. Gets challenged from the side door, and Silent able to take down the kill, and just like that, a well-constructed break there for the RMU Colonials.
This is actually a 3-2 split here. Colonials are really going to be able to take this scrap time and at least get some breathing room between them. 3 M4s, you got Brutus, J-Mill, and Silent all with them. You have to play these sightlines correctly. Shift is right. Every time that you break inside a building with an M4, you have to be ADSing constantly. Can't not drop that unless you are reloading. And this is where it's going to come into a series of questions as we are rotating into P3. Tactics is already over top of it. Going to be a 4-man flood through the dark room where B-Dom's site normally resides if we are on that game mode, but it's in the favor for the Colonials. They do get the numbers. Just Ranger here on the point. Spawns are coming through from the Falcons in the back way of the warehouse, now leading their way into the coal mines. But that advantage that the Colonials had, well, it's already gone.
Yeah, and again, for the RMU Colonials, they do a nice job of once again breaking P3, the second rotation in a row. But again, the big problem is when you run 3 M4s, you don't have any SMGs to follow up and get some time. So you've got 3 M4s looking down the long side of Cole. You're waiting for Cryon or React to get there to find the tradeaways in the hill itself. Neither of those things really occur. So the last 15 seconds worth of time will go the way of BG and the Falcons. And it looks like Tactics and the rest of the SMG squad of our Bowling Green squad is going to look to make a play early on here and maybe close things out in the next 10 seconds on this 4th hardpoint.
Okay, they're going to have to play this flawlessly here. You got 7 seconds in between Falcons and the victory of our first map here in the 3rd series of the day shift. And although the Colonials are on the point, Ranger looks to break things up, slides back in, gets a 2. How about a 3rd? There's the 3rd right there. Hardpoint in firm control. Now the Colonials just got to throw bodies on the point. Nobody on there currently. Well, had they won that fight, that would have been game right there. But still a little bit of time for the break to come through, which Colonials were able to find themselves. Able to get 1 kill into the showers. That's traded off. J-Mo goes down inside there. The push on from the trees is good. Silent Dog finds themselves a little bit of a 2-piece on the back end of this engagement. Is now on 3 straight. Doing quite well. They're going to be able to get this hard time, but wisely so. Falcons are just going to go reassess the situation. They're like, you know, that's fine. Spawns are coming through from the Colonials on the opposite side. They step off for a hot second. And Falcons just step on, and they win the map. Just like that.
Yeah, it just came down to one last 1v1. One other player from RMU tried to get there in time, but not able to fully do just that. So Robert Morris not able to get things going really again. You know, you talk about just the meta of the game. You know, it's one that I don't like to have when it comes to FPSs, but there absolutely is one when it comes to weapon loadouts. And when you're running 3 ARs on a map that, you know, you really do need more SMG presence. You see, look at it really quickly here at the scoreboard. Cryon and React were the 2 SMG players for RMU, and they combined for a total of 37 seconds worth of hill time. That just can't be the case. You need to get an SMG player active. You need to get him up in the front. And, you know, I think it comes to a point in a conversation of one of those 3 M4s, if not 2 of them, have to say, okay, I'm picking up an SMG and I'm going to help out our front line a little bit. Because even if you're fragging out, we saw it happen 2 different times where the AR line of RMU were able to clear out a hill, but nobody could follow up behind it to get any hill time. So, you know, you're finding little bits of success here or there, but the Colonials definitely need to go back to the drawing board as far as what their weapon loadouts, I think, are if they want to have a chance, you know, to do better when it comes to scoreline and total time on the hill in hardpoint specifically.
Yeah, I mean, then you look on the other side with Cryon and React, the 2 MP5s for the Colonials. I mean, they only had React win 16 and 25, Cryon win 19 and 30. I'm not as good at quick maths as you, my friend, but I can tell you that's not as much. It's not as much. And well, when you are missing that, your M4s can't necessarily get set up. And just to push the envelope that much further, The lone M4 for the Falcons, that was Smiley Slays, went 18 and 15. And that just colors a picture for you that that's how little of engagements that Smiley Slays found themselves in from the oppression of the thorn in the side that was all of these MP5. So that was Gunrunner, done and dusted. 250 to 114 was the scoreline in the Falcons' favor. And now we look into Arkloff Peak, where things can definitely get slowed up. I say that ever so hesitant because we did see good and well-trained smoke grenade pushes earlier from J Money. A lack of grenades being utilized on Hardpoint. So I have to wonder if it's going to transition over into Arkloff Peak S&D.
But the big thing that you got to keep in mind is the fact that we know that Robert Morris are going to play with at least 3 M4s, if not potentially more coming into it. So a map like this definitely favors their setup. So it just comes down to, do they have any sniper pressure to add to the long-range impact that they're looking for when it comes to the search at Arkloff Peak? And on the flip side here for Bowling Green, we're to get our first look to see what they have to offer from these really kind of fast and furious SMGs. Will any of them slow things up and pick up an M4? You figure that likely, yes, at least some of them will. It just comes down to how many. You know, again, at the end of the day, you're looking at the meta between these first 2 maps, and typically it's 1 M4, 4 SMGs for Gunrunner Hardpoint. And then for Arkloff Peak, you're not surprised if you see 5 ARs or 4 ARs and a sniper at times, just due to the long sight lines. And again, a lot of that poking and prodding that usually starts us off over towards that A site, whether you're on defense or offense. Those early gunfights typically do develop by the A-bomb site.
And that longer sight line, too. We saw earlier Zots with the AX-50 able to find tremendous drag shots. I'm going to have nightmares about that one for sure. But the influence that you can bring out in that opening engagement, typically when that AX-50 pick comes through, it's that sightline that has been taken away from the team that lost the member, obviously, and very naturally. The other side will then take that advantage to then push on forward and get right in your face while the longer sightline is still being held by the AX-50. Yeah. If it is on the offense side, sometimes you can get a little cheeky and then get a bait and switch over to B. We'll have to see how the Falcons take out their offense. We are in S&D Arkloff Peak. Falcons on offense first. Smiley Slays with the AX-50. Looking past the trench, almost gets the player, but a set nade from Blast will find the first blood on the silent dig.
And Blast already pushing up. He's got players rotating behind him, and it just comes down to timing this peak. Tactics will keep the SMG. He'll be the first one to break through. He also has the bomb, though, so you have to be very careful about how you're going to hit this. Maybe some information there as a sniper rifle shot rings overhead. Des trying to clear things from the A connector. Cryon just around the corner from him. And you got to feel like if you're Cryon, you got to make a play, and he does! He finds 2. J-Mill will find a 3rd. That's beautiful for RMU and the Colonials to respond to this push through. Ranger will make things interesting over towards the B site, but for now, the Colonials have the numbers, and they're holding on to this A-bomb site well.
2v3. This pick has to be big. Ranger is on the other side, able to bring this down to the 3v2 that the Colonials find themselves in. Bomb is dropped. I believe both teams are more than aware of this. There is a sniper on the other side. I believe that is React. It is. And so far, this is exactly what we talked about, slowing the pace up. We see it countless times that when teams try to get a little aggressive, even without the smoke grenade shift against an AR, well, you get melted down. You line them up, you get knocked down. And that was Cryon that was able to find that 2-piece. Smiley Slays still holding on to the AX-50. We got 25 seconds left on the board for Ranger and Smiley Slays to try to do something. Smiley going to get a little more versatile. Going to try to slay out with his M4.
Got an opportunity on the player. It was left, and these shots overhead will give him the info. But has to do it quickly. Finds one, and the second player top hostile window. It hasn't peeked him. The Deagle comes out of the back pocket. And the Colonials will take the first round. And again, just great overall play there for RMU with their AR riflemen, just to make sure they're able to lock things down. It actually wasn't the Deagle. It was the AX-50. I thought for sure it was a quick swap over to a Deagle, but not the case. So nice little shot there from the sniper rifle of the Colonials. And again, a nice little first round to get you started off. 3 kills from Cryon, make it happen.
She'd love to see. I don't believe that there was an SMG even present for Robert Morris on defense there. And
I don't think so, no.
I would not stray from that being the truth, considering that they were crazy enough to run solo or double SMG on Gunrunner Hardpoint. But here we are, finding themselves on offense. It's React with an AX-50. Going to have a couple set nades. Going to go ahead and ceremoniously start off round number 2. That was already going to be held there by Smiley after the set nade came through. You should have known that, React. Immediate advantage in favor of the Falcons.
All right, that's tough. React wanted to go for an off angle to snipe top hostile window. And that time, Smiley's playing down by the truck. And so Silent will pick up what he dropped. and maybe try to make a play of his own. And again, this could be a little unexpected. You say okay, sniper threat out of the way here for the Falcons, but do you expect to pick up? He's checking the correct area. Just comes down to the timing, and how about that? Cryan with his 4th kill. Able to find Des, who came through the A building. Blasted a little bit of trouble on the flank, has to keep his life. Nice pre-aim, and the pre-fire will connect for J-Mill. So a trade back and forth numbers here for the Falcons on defense, but Silent trying to move on forward. Nice headshot there for one. Tactics will peek over the top, and he catches the mid-reload. Nice trade, and the Falcons hold.
And Des was popped at Silence, put themselves in the middle of that broken building. Vantage flipping back in the favor for Falcons. Here comes Cryan back on the flank. Sees the bomb. Can't make a play for it quite yet. It is being held. There's a player pushed on forward towards the big blue building while there's one still on the beat on site. Cryan is about to get it. I can't believe Tactics didn't get this kill onto Cryan. It's going to escape with their life. Smile on their face. It's just Ranger and Blast versus Cryan and Brutus, who then picked up the bomb.
Watch this flank, though. You've got Blast working his way all the way around, and he unfortunately doesn't get there in time to find the exit on the post plant. So now Ranger and Blast have to find a way to duo this up. Cryan drops. He's got an idea where the second player is. Ranger, if he can get here quickly, it should be a nice little pinch setup, but Brutus keeps his life for now. 1v1 opportunity. First couple of shots are decent. We'll chase him down into the trench, and Blast will find his 3rd straight, and he'll be rewarded the defuse. What a nice play there for the Falcons, and Blast on the flank there.
Yeah, Brutus knew where the read was going to be coming from, regardless of dead silence, not directly hearing the player coming around there. It was still a fantastic work. Pincer all the way until the end, working the strategy until the very end, not giving up a single inch of room. Player had to come all the way back from the B-bomb site to make that happen. But the patience coming through, and exactly how Colonials caught Falcons off guard in their first offense is exactly how the Falcons went out against the Colonials, just through sheer patience alone. Gonna have to see what they can adapt here on offense. Gonna have to see who's sniping who. Cryan is at 5-2 right now, in between 2 rounds, has been putting in their fair share of work so far. Smiley Slays through the smoke grenade, gonna be able to take a blind shot. Will miss. P coming through over top of the trenches. We'll think wisely so, but this is what I love to see. Well-tamed smoke grenade. It's not gonna be able to get the cover that they necessarily want. There is a player on the other side of this wall. I think Tactics knows this. I think they even have that silence pop too.
Oh, no, Tactics.
They don't check the right corner. Oh, man.
And again, the SMG presence of the Falcons is just, you can see it. Look at the tough position that Des even finds him. This is the range that you want, but he's got to check so many different angles. He'll pop open for one. Smiley able to watch over React, who was about to, I'm sure, take the snipe on the Des, so saves a life there. And now it's just down to Cryan and Silent for the 2v3 for the Colonials. Ranger working towards the B side of the map. Might get some information, and he does. So maybe an opportunity for him to find a kill on the cross, but I don't know if he realized that the player was actually slipping to his left. Fortunate timing there for Ranger. Now it's just down to Cryan for the 1v3. He finds one, not able to get away with his life. And the Falcons will find their first lead of the game up 2-1.
I mean, that advantage, immediately finding Tactics with their pants down, not checking the corner. Immediately followed up with, again, just well-held angles from their sniper and Smiley Slays, and able to turn things back around by well-timed peaks and angles. I mean, that mid-hold, catching the player, going back towards B-bomb site, wisely so. You never know if the Falcons were going to end up going for the bait-and-switch play back towards the bomb site B, so Robert Morris had to dedicate a player over to there. And they split themselves up in the process, and Falcons able to clean up after that. And I like this attempt so far. Colonials React going to be pushing themselves through the church side and going to try to get a good peek, perhaps on this player that's all on the way on the far side as they see them sliding through. There's the shot. Nice. React and Cryan show up in the kill feed early. Trade out by Dez, so we find ourselves in a 3v4 early on.
J-Mill will get a little bit of assistance there for Cryan for the trade out. He'll get credit with the assist. But for the Colonials, this is a wide open hit here to the B-bomb site. Cryan waiting for his teammate, I'm sure, to push through the snow path just to make sure they're watching the cross before he digs on in. I don't think you should figure there's another player here inside of B, but Colonials maybe a touch slow. Silent will find one over the middle. Smiley, the last player left, has popped dead silence, and he will creep through a doorway right into the line of sight of an AR, and the Colonials will tie things back up to a piece, and that's a really beautiful design there for the Colonials to get into the B-bomb site.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was all off of a well-placed pick there. Player trying to slide on forward, trying to get a little up close and personal. Bites a bullet for their liking, but without that pick coming through from both Cryan and React, it's probably looking a little bit different if Falcons just played the patient game. But, you know, that's the mental warfare that you go into when it comes down to S&D. You almost think that if a team's going to go 2 times over to the A-bomb site, they're going to go and do it continuously. Not that time around, says the Colonials. Falcons back on their offense. Tactics has the bomb, smiling with the AX-50. No smoke grenade to stop them this time around. But React's not inside that window. You see the bomb, though, shift. Working its way all the way on the outside solely. That's quite scary.
Gunfire exchanged near the B bomb site. So it looks like sniper on sniper action will be all that takes place here at A. Blast first blood. That was on a player inside the B house. Cry unable to find his trade. So 4 on 4. And this is big. Listen, the bomb is going so far deep that if he drops, now all of a sudden the bomb is in the middle of nowhere. I can't imagine the Colonials will know the bomb has been dropped on that last previous kill. But still, for Bowling Green, the win condition of getting the bomb and planting it almost feels more dangerous than just going for the kills.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like that was just such a misplay there from Tactics. Ended up holding the bomb and pushing all the way out yonder. So I'm just scratching my head at that, and I probably will be until tomorrow evening. But you're gonna have to try to make a hard commit to this play. Ranger goes down because Silent Dick worked their way towards the bomb, who saw it drop and now just gobbled up full. Colonials went out this round, put themselves in the lead.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, flat out. I mean, if you're going to take the bomb that far, you better have somebody else with you.
For sure.
And even then, I still would say
covering you. You need someone pushing along with you. If you're going to Desert Storm it and just crouch walk all the way around, like do it as a 4-man commit and keep Smiley just taking pot shots, whether they're connecting or not, over to the A-bomb site and just keep them busy, keep them guessing. That would have been a much easier play with that.
We'll see if they can make adjustments, but for now, they'll be on the defense. The Colonials regain the lead 3-2, and it looks like they want to make a play over towards the B-bomb site. React, the typical sniper, is already going to make his way into the church. And we'll see how blessed this scope becomes as he looks over towards the outside. Oh, he misses the timing! Again, we've got that orange outline, but if you're focused looking towards the right, you probably don't see that guy peeking right over the left side of where he was previously looking. And he's going to go all the way back into this little outhouse area and try to watch the long side flank. But I feel like if you're going to take this angle, you would rather have an AR here and keep your sniper rifle up top. But we'll see if it pays out. First blood will be in favor of the Falcons. Next engagement also goes the way of Blast. So a 5-on-3, and now all of a sudden React, who's still pushing through the outside of the cemetery. You feel like he really needs to hit a snipe right here.
Bomb's still in play. Still being carried by the player who's inside blue.
Yikes.
Gone forward, Brutus able to find Tactics after React finds himself dead. That flank hasn't paid off for either team thus far, Shift, and, well, it doesn't matter if you have a sniper or the bomb in your hand. It just doesn't look good thus far. But, again, like, it's such a wild play. The timing React was probably expecting to find the player trying to slide on forward. I believe that was, I believe that's Blast. That's Tactics that has been the designated hold for B. Seems both offense and defense, but what's even more surprising is that Colonials React was trying to get the hard read that the player was going to try to make the same mistake twice. Was not the case, and pays for it heavily. Tied up series yet again. Falcons back on their offense. Look to go out to B again. Tactics has the bomb. This time around, if they start pushing on the very far outside, they will have backup. In fact, all players for the Falcons up on the northern side of the map, and they get first blood.
And this is a different approach. Remember Tactics, the bomb carrier last time. He went wide. Now he's going to hug the building, giving him an opportunity to maybe hit this side window, depending on the timing. He will see J-Mill. Very well done for him. Cheeky little angle. J-Mill never had a chance, and now he's got his teammates pushing with him. Blast finds a kill to cry on. Des is going to watch the back door. And it's going to be Brutus who hops out the top window, and he's going to try to hit the side window. This timing could be everything for Brutus. He's got the sniper rifle at range. One more bullet would have done it, and Blast comes along the back. No chance, and React is now left on a long flank with the sniper rifle. First shot misses. Second one, not going to get a chance to get it off. BG now retake the lead 4-3 after they get 2 rounds in a row.
A little bit of back and forth now. Falcons finally holding the lead. You missed the one shot. Shame on me. You try to re-peek from the hay bales. Shame on you. Yeah, sure. I mean, again, the AX-50 really coming into play, full effect, and this is personally why I love Arcloth Peak, Search and Destroy. Same reason for San Pedro got those longer range of sights. can really pay dividends, especially with that first kill coming through by way of AR or AX-50. You shut down sightlines and you basically force very unfavorable rotations to come through. It can really catch the opposing team off guard, and it opens up a lot of different flanks. Very scary melee at the start of the round. Player will keep their life for now. Set nades coming through. It's going to be a smoke grenade in play. React's going to push through. I believe they have that silence available. Gets right behind Blast. Well played.
I love that play. React completely flipping the script, putting down the scope, picks up the SMG, and is able to isolate Blast. And how about that? Nice shots from Cryon. Des will find one in response, but it's a 4-on-3 for the Colonials. Bomb has not committed to getting into the A-bomb site. There is only one more player here. Silent will look right over the top and find a free kill. And now it just comes down to reading this flank. There is one player for the Colonials looking at the back. It's Smiley, who's here. Again, traditionally the sniper player. And based on the fact that he's got a pistol, I'd imagine he's also not sniping this round. Will be stunned, but gets J-Mill, and he will pick up his weapon. So an opportunity here, but the bomb has been planted, so the time is ticking against him.
30 seconds left here. React's going to be able to find Rangers. Now the sole player remaining here, Smiley. Long range M4 shot's not going to be able to get the kill. Connections were there. Going to be looking for the reach out on the trenches side. Going to be immediately act. You know, React fell right at home, dropped the scope, pickups the MP5, absolutely tees off and around by way of dead silence. And you know that had to felt good for Robert Morris.
Yep. Nicely done there for Silent again to find the opening kill under that A-bomb site, giving some space for the Colonials, then picking up the last one. So 4-4 we go. Blast 10-5, really kind of carrying the load so far for the Falcons, but not to be outdone because Cryon is 14-5 for his team. And I don't know if they make backpacks that size, but for Brutus and J-Mill, they're feeling pretty fortunate that he's playing as well as he is. But the Colonials have looked much better here on Search and Destroy overall. Smiley going to look to change that narrative quickly as he pulls back out the sniper rifle, looking over towards A. Very mindful of where React could potentially be. Tactics will smoke. And it looks like the rest of his teammates will try to push through this. Des has been slowed down. Blast will find one. Tactics, though, will trade him out. And now all of a sudden, Tactics is up a creep without a paddle. And again, he's got the bomb. So if he drops here, which he fortunately will slide back towards his teammates, it would put the Falcons in a terrible spot. But he keeps his life and now resets the attack approach here for the Falcons.
Such a unfortunate time and series of events to find that TK. I mean, Blast living up to their name, blasting off into their faces of the Colonials. Finding those 2 kills was absolutely massive for the Falcons and their advantage. Dwindling away as Ranger goes down by way of React. Don't know, again, if they are still holding an MP5 or if they went back over to the AX-50, but it's still not helping out regardless. The Falcons still trying to come back from the deficit. Tactics staying on this flank inside the trench. Is able to get 1 kill onto Brutus. Evening things up ever so slightly. There's the second kill. Smiley turning back around to find his rack. Where are these shots going, J-Mill? Not where you need them to. Falcons put themselves on map point.
That was one of those instances where J-Mill's like, maybe if I just hold the trigger harder, my bullets will find my target. But Tactics slides around the backside of him. Barely. Again, one more bullet would have done it, but Tactics gets the better of him. And like you mentioned, going now into map point. The Falcons looking to go up 2-0, but for the Colonials, they've looked decent so far when it comes to this search, and they really need a good offensive round this time. I mean, do you hit B here? I mean, it looked good the first time you did it. Maybe try to go back to the old faithful and do it again?
Looks like it's going to be a setup over here for A. Could be a mid-peak, but I like this conditioning coming out from the Colonials. I mean, you keep Falcons guessing on what you're going to be doing. You do get them to have a 2-split, one on the outside of B, one in the mid. Well, this is going to be a full 5-man commit. I'm automatically pushing here. Here's React. I suppose taking a page out of Tactics books. Pops the smoke. I believe that silence is coming here as well. Marches on forward through the smoke, but doesn't continue on that push. There are shots coming through from a Falcons player. Down the trench side. No trades yet. So we have a silence and a reprieve in the battlefield.
React. Probably need to be the player to open things up. But again, how can you when you've got the bomb and you've got nobody behind you now that Cryon's died? Still wants to force the issue. First shots come through and Ranger not able to get over the top of the rock. So now all of a Silent finding a kill. That was over by the A connector. There's a big opportunity. Brutus with the discipline to watch the flank will get a kill. And just like that, the Colonials with big numbers. React jumping on the bomb. There's still a player here. Although Brutus and Silent will once again put him in a good spot. Tactics. Oh my, he's going to ninja. He's going to sneak this.
Oh,
He's been
could you
shipped out.
imagine?
That would have been nuts.
You almost think he has a cardboard box over top of him. Got to pull on some sneaky tactics. That would have been crazy. Okay, that's actually hilarious from that POV. This react will not be toyed with today. But again, you see Robert Morris finding a lot more success, dropping the AX-50, picking up the MP5 for React, marching on forward, though it seemed a little bit hesitant at first. Those trades were able to come through very quickly. Find ourselves here in round 11, as it is going to be the Falcons set up for their attack. Bomb, I believe that's in Tactics' hand. I don't know who else would be carrying it at this point for the Falcons. Just working their way outside. Let's have the backup. One player inside the blue. One player in mid. Two players inside broken in and around there. Tax is just going to go ahead and just hard push there over here. There is a player from the Colonials set up inside this building. Though trading shots out. Could catch them off guard. They're upstairs as well.
He's going to go for the plan. Immediately put this down. He's got teammates nearby.
I love it.
Brutus is the player that's up top, and he will now realize to the folly of his positioning. J-Mill, though, is working the flank with one other player. So just like this, Robert Morris is actually about to completely get a stranglehold on this B house. The big problem, though, is the fact that the Falcons not only have a sniper up top that Smiley's there, but there's a player sitting back Snowpath currently, and he might be able to clutch. That's Ranger. And with Tactics still being a nuisance, Brutus can't jump this bomb yet.
Tactics on this flank coming around the mid side. There was Ranger from the back, able to clean things up with a beautiful play. Falcons win out S&D Arcloth Peak. It was close, Shift. It was very, very close. Certain series of mistakes by way of Tactics overextending with the bomb a handful of times, but it will come out on top. The well-trained and timed shots and pincer from Ranger in the back will garner them a win and put themselves on series point.
Yeah, I'm a little bit wondering what Brutus saw, or if he didn't see anything, because you should not at any point, if you're sitting top house, you need to at least scout out that, hey, this is coming B, because his teammates were never able to rotate over early. They tried to go for the flank through, which nearly almost worked. But if they would have had one more player in there to stop that bomb from being planted, I think that round very likely could have gone the other way around, but the timer was just it's not in their favor whatsoever. So again, 6-5 round 11 win there for Bowling Green State. The Falcons currently go up 2-0, looking to find a 3-0, and that would actually push them to a very nice start to their season. They had a 3-0 in their first game. Still needed to catch up with a couple other of their marquee matchups that they had from week 1 and week 2. But if they can start their season off 2-0 with a 6-0 map count, that would be great for the Falcons to start off their season.
Oh, absolutely. And going back to their schedule too, I mean, it's only going to get tougher from here on out, and especially with teams that are able to gobble up teams that showcase a series of mistakes continuously. One name, Concord Maroon, certainly comes to mind. You better continue on with any sort of win streak, certainly possible. But if you're just now joining us, we are heading into map number 3. This is the third series of the day. Robert Morris University playing from behind 2 maps against Bowling Green State University. The Falcons have won both Gunrunner Hardpoint and Arcloth Peak Search and Destroy. S&D being extremely close, 6-5, but you see the Hardpoint score 250 to 114. As we head over to Hackney R domination here, I expect certain trades from Gunrunner Hardpoint. This is SMG Playground, the mid control, the warehouse control of domination for the B-Dom flag. That if you do get the Covenant A-B hold, as we know teams really like to have here from the tire shop, the warehouse, you can trap teams all the way back towards the smokestack relatively easily.
Yeah, and that's what you're looking for, whether you're on the A side naturally or if you try to flip the spawns around. But again, you know, you look at this series layout, you've got double Hackney coming out. You mentioned it so properly, the fact that SMGs are going to probably dictate the pace, the tempo, and likely who takes these next couple of maps. And you've got to naturally tilt that in favor of Bowling Green. And man, if you're Robert Morris, you would have loved to have won that search, because I think if you go map 5 in this series, you're probably pretty happy about the fact that you've got Search and Destroy coming up, because you looked really pretty decent all the way through that Arcloth Peak. But you have to make some pretty dramatic changes here, I feel like, if you're the Colonials, going into double Hackney just to send it to a map 5 with the hopes of a reverse sweep at hand.
Yeah, I mean, in St. Petro is going to be exactly what they want to, by way of not having a total fun time. You would say in the AX50 battle versus Smiley Slays, its react was nowhere near finding the value that Smiley was just from map presence alone, but able to drop it and go into that SMG gameplay, get in their face. You can make that happen in St. Petro S&D, but we have to get there first. We have potentially 2 Hackney yards in front of us, one of which being domination. The next one and potentially hardpoint for Hackney Yard to boot. But here's the scary thing, is that Bowling Green State University, well, they're on Series Point. So you can't even think about St. Petro S&D and what you did good on S&D regardless. You got to go back to Hardpoint Gunrunner and think about the mistakes and flaws that you showcased there and clean them up really quickly for Robert Morris University. And that's exclusively around their very awkward M4 setup. Again, they only had 2 MP5s on Hardpoint Gunrunner, and you might be able to make it work a little bit better with the sightlines available on this map for the CB hold, but it's a tall order to ask because by way of just sheer oppression, BGSU shift we saw through their MP5s, a lone M4 setup is how they like to play.
Absolutely the case. With the Colonials digging their way through, Silent has put down the M4 in favor of an MP5. He's able to find a combination of kills. Both teams able to take their home flags. Brutus has worked his way top hill. This is a great spot for him to be early. He'll find a free kill in the back, and that's actually forcing the Falcons to spawn office. Now it comes down to Colonials. Can you watch this on the full push through? You're going to see a couple of players are going to rotate out. Cryon, big moment for him. He's going to come through, and he actually gets taken down very quickly. And just like that, the Falcons of Bowling Green have already put pressure on the A flag. There's one more player there for the Colonials. It's Silent. He finds one, trying to keep his life. Needs to find the second. What a heroic play for Silent. He was on your minimap, bottom right-hand side. It was up to him to hold the A flag, and he keeps it neutral while his teammates push through, and now they've captured C and B.
All while the A flag will finally get a player from the Falcons to start turning it back over, so they will have a home flag. Going to allow the Colonials to continue on with their map pressure. Now, there is a player inside the warehouse on top, I believe. A player on the outside will be gunned down, traded through. Another fight in the middle will be decided in the Colonials' favor. 2 players now in the warehouse. Here's Blast, along with trades coming through with their teammates. Good kills coming through from bottom L in the Colonials' favor. The beat-on flag does go back to neutral, but from spawns alone, you could think that the Colonials will be able to solidify B-Dom yet again, but you see, Ranger, we talk about top L time and time again for MP5s. But with that M4, pre-rain, hey, go ahead and line them up. Ranger, you're going to go ahead and knock them down. My God, that was filthy.
And for the Colonials, it's a little unfortunate because look how far up the Falcons are pushed through the mid-map, but attacking third. You would have loved to have seen maybe
Ranger.
A player gets the spawn by A, but Rangers is holding down this line of sight, and now I think they're realizing that, hey, they've spawned back over towards A. Blast the player responsible for coming back. He finds one looking for a second. He does get taken down, but split spawns currently for the Colonials, and unless the Falcons can determine, hey, we need to fall back to A, this very well could be a full spawn flip for the Colonials. They eventually put a couple players on the A flag, and it looks like the Colonials will have to figure and settle for just the C flag for now.
This is really interesting, too, is that we have a double M4 setup from BGSU. The Falcons are running just 3 MP5s, and I say that because you have the opposite for Robert Morris, who are running just a sole M4, and that's on Brutus. So you would think that the strategy would be in the other favor, especially for how Colonials really loved their M4s on Hardpoint. Not this time around. You have Smiley, as well as Ranger, playing with the M4, playing off these sightlines, allowing their MP5s with Blast, Dez, and Tactics to just bully their way in, and it's really working. Although the point lead is only into 5 right now, the Falcons have been playing from far behind, and they're able to come out on top with an AB hold thus far, as we are getting ourselves into the second quarter.
Yeah, Blast again just circling around the middle, just going back and forth between office back alley and those mid crates. Again, split spawns here, though, for the RMU Colonials. They get a couple of players to spawn over by A. The gunfights would be massive. Cryon takes one. The second one is a little bit more elongated here. It's Silent who's able to find another kill, and just like that, it's a little bit of an AC hold for now, which is not what you want. It just comes down to, can you start negotiating these spawns into your favor? The game doesn't know where to put the Colonials right now. You look over to Cryon, if we can really quickly. He's got a 1v1. Never mind, he does get taken down. So the Falcons will come back and retake the A site. But these 50-50 spawns are happening all over the place because either team can determine which side of the map they want.
So I have a player hanging out on top of A. Will be finally dealt with there. J-Mill. Ranger with a well-placed shot is just underneath the smokestack. You almost think that was hard point with that positioning, but able to catch a player rotating into the warehouse. Brutus now on top of the smokestack. Can't get the kill, and that really hurts because now this position is going to be able to give away. You see Ranger was already ADSing towards that sight line. We'll give it up for the time being, but the map control is just heavily in the favor of the Falcons. You see this. The massive control they have on the B-Dom site. There is a player for the Colonials working their way in and around the tire shop. I don't think the Falcons are aware of this. They are moving away from their home flag, and this is going to start pulling them back.
Yeah, these spawns are literally, just guess. It is a roll of the dice currently. Silent Dig, the big player currently up. Des will be able to take him down by the A flag. I mean, the Colonials in the last minute and a half have spawned by A. They've spawned office. They've spawned yellow. Now currently they're spawning in the back warehouse. It's only a 15-point game, and the Colonials have had a handful of opportunities to get the A flag. Nice little gun right there for Brutus to find a kill onto Smiley. And you're just hoping that for the Colonials, you can find a way to work across mid-map. It looks like for now, though, the Falcons are going to hold. We've got 60 seconds until the half, likely with the Falcons maintaining this lead, if not growing it.
You got a two-man hit coming in from the Colonials into the tire shop here. Going to try to get more members of the Falcons to turn back around. They're going to be able to do so. Flag will go down to neutral. They do have members, the Colonials do, guarding their home flag, so no scare of a triple cap coming through. But the damage is so far done already, Shiv. We have about a 20-point lead in the Falcons. 35 seconds left here in our first half. You have multiple players going in
Ranger.
around L. Ranger is on the prowl.
Oh my God,
he
Ranger.
really wants this. He really wants this.
Oh my God,
Ranger. He's gonna
Ranger.
get it. Oh, there's two now. Okay, pulling out the gun. Yeah, you're gonna go ahead and settle for that. All right, that. You know what? I don't think you deserve the bagging of tea, all things considered. You could have made that happen such a long time around. There's a series of broken ankles right there. Smiley slays, smiles, and walks away.
There was a moment, I think it was React. He was in the C building, just not helping his team move across the map. And again, what are you going to accomplish from where you previously were? Again, it's questionable decisions, I think, generally speaking. Maybe a lack of coordination or communication coming through, but the Colonials who get flipped too early from the A side of the map, not fully able to regain that favored side. So we'll go into the half here. 103-76 for the Falcons. It looks like pretty much at the moment well on their way to a 3-0. Our scoreboard will glitch out, at least for now, but Des has had himself a whale of a game. I think he's only died 4 or 5 times, and he's already gained at least 20-plus kills. A very good first half for Des.
Oh, absolutely. Looking to continue on that, too. And this is why we highlighted them coming off the hard point. They went 36-19 then, having themselves a field day here. It's a little bit of the head peek, can't get the kill. There's a player to confirm that up top. Tactics residing up atop L will go down. There's that police car jump peek that I was talking about. Brutus is going to be on the opposing side on smokestacks. Going to be looking past the wall, see if any player will be jumping over. No time soon.
And again, Proper, you've got a guy for Robert Morris who's been sitting in the yellow window. Like, what are you going to see? You've got 2 players top L. You've got another M4 sitting at the top of the office. So what are you hoping to see from that angle? You got to get up and help your teammates. I don't know who it was, but again, you just got to be more aware of where your team is at this point.
Yeah, map awareness is definitely a thing. Team awareness too, and this is just domination as a whole. There comes a certain point in time where it can relate to hardpoint. You just got to put bodies in there, man. You got to overwhelm them. This angle in yellow is just going to be snuffed out continuously. Yeah. You're not finding any value in these angles from smokestack and yellow. Just pick up more MP5s. It worked out well on S&D. Do it again. Get in their face of the Falcons. Beat their aggression, par for par on their tempo. And it seems that the Colonials get a minor break. I say that. There's still a player on top of this crate. Will drop down.
Yikes.
Ryan can't finalize the kill. Has to go for the reload. And that advantage that I was just stating there, Shift, well, it's gone.
Yeah, and again, you got to double jail that. Someone slides, someone jumps, someone hits the window.
That's your teammate.
Brutus almost takes out his teammate. Brutus will fall. Cryan will be the person to kill him. I don't know what the heck's going on right now.
Cryan didn't trust him. But he didn't trust him.
I don't blame him. Blast now up top. We'll see the head of one player jumps over, able to find the kill onto J-Mill. And again, you've got a player sitting in top yellow. What are you going to do from here? Besides only take a couple of shots at the player who peeks you top L, which is not going to happen for very long once they realize the position you're in. I would be willing to bet that that's React up there, and he just needs to get a little bit more aggressive flat out.
I mean, React being their star player coming off of S&D with their MP5, had a very slow hard point, 16 and 25. Needs to get the work together here, pulling out the Deagle, go for the reload on the M4, please. Thank you, Brutus. Gotta check your backside, though. It's not your teammate this time. It's gonna be Ranger. We'll be able to find that kill, and well, here goes React, pushing themselves in. He's able to find the kill on the tactics. It's gonna be top L, cleared for the time being. Spawn's coming in here.
This.
Yep, absolutely.
Get in here. Get in here. You've got top L. Go ahead and hit the side window.
Well, they had
Brutus
top
down
L.
low. And they're not able to fully clear out this B flag yet. One player trying to make a solo hit towards the A flag. And again, React retreats back into the C warehouse. And Brutus will take down 2, but my goodness, he would love a teammate to come help him. It's going to be a neutralization of the B flag, which is the best case scenario that we've seen out of the Colonials thus far in the second half. Nice headshot for Des.
Oh my god!
Almost able to find the third. The grenade will get the credit for the kill, though, out of Ranger's hand. And just like that, Bowling Green has retaken the B flag.
He's kind of crazy up here. I mean, Dez, again, a very scary SMG player. 2 players here in the mid. Lined him up. There's the second. Couldn't get the first, though. I, too, thought that player was dead to rights. Ranger now trying to trace out and trailing these shots. Gets the second. The retrain will go down from React. But the damage is just so clearly done. I mean, neutralizing the C flag. Falcons player will take this space and just work their way back into top L. There is a player, here's Brutus, has been trying to find a travel agent to set up a lease here onto domination flag B. Is unable to do so yet again. It's consumed by the Falcons. I've been covering the entirety of this map minus the office since the round began.
And you've got individuals who are trying to make plays now. React retreated back over to C. Not sure who it was that tried to make a solo play to A, but they don't have the positioning to make those rotations. And especially when you do them in split focus, you're going to likely just get picked off one by one. Fortunately, the kill feed does go into their favor, but we're down to 1 minute and about 45 seconds left, and it's a 70-point game nearly. And there's just no way that the Colonials come back into this one.
I mean, you got to get a triple tap
right now. Yeah.
It's got to come, like, right now. And they're going to be able to get the B-Dom flag. You see the spawns now for the Falcons. Back on the outside of C, will decide to take C for the AC hold. There are players trading out kills over by the tire shop. That's 2 players for the Colonials that will be able to get the A flag neutral for the time being. There's a player working their way back into the tire shop. And although captured for the time being, you can only imagine it's going to go back in the favor of the Falcons for the time being. I saved that. But the kill feed's still glowing in the Colonials' favor ever so slightly. The map pressure being pushed back in their favor. Falcons, however, won't be pushed back for far too long. Their SMG presence quite scary indeed. The triple cap not being able to be there. With 53 seconds left inside the time bank, and these holds on these flags as they are shift, I think we can go ahead and call it right there.
Absolutely. It was done about a minute ago. But I'm interested to see if Des is going to be able to snap 40 on this one. Again, he was at like 20 and something, 20 plus and somewhere around 5. I wouldn't be surprised if he got close to the 40-point mark. But again, I think for Robert Morris, you had a couple of good moments in here, but flat out, there were just a handful of things that have gone wrong. Coordination, not sure how we're going to manipulate the map or use the map to our favor. And BG and the Falcons looking relatively good here. Again, not the biggest of tests for them here in the Midwest. That's going to be coming up on their schedule here relatively soon. And I'll be interested to see how this team goes. I'm going to keep an eye on this Bowling Green team because they got Purdue next. That'll be probably one of their best tests early. I didn't realize that Ohio State actually started off 0-2, although I believe that their schedule was not necessarily favored to them. They played the Illini squad, and then they played Grand Valley, and they've got Butler coming up on their schedule too here. So not the most favorable schedule for Ohio State, but 207-145 is the score, and Bowling Green able to keep themselves not only undefeated in the set series, but also undefeated in the map scores as well.
Yep, that they will. But they're gonna need any sort of this confidence going on forward shift, especially
45 for Des, by the way.
That's just
insanity.
It's just, yeah. I'm at a loss for words, which is a new one for me personally. It's just you can talk about the SMG presence and how scary it truly was here for the Falcons, and just the lack of that presence being there for Robert Morris University. I mean, EGSU. Showcasing exactly why we talk about tempo in Modern Warfare, and they who aggress first and then push that even further typically comes out on top of maps with such as Hardpoint and Domination, especially like Gunrunner and Hackney Yard. I mean, SMG presence is the meta. It's the name of the game right now, although that title says Modern Warfare. I'm right.
100% the case. So we'll have 3 series done for the evening here to finish off week number 2 for our broadcast coverage. All of them were 3-0s. In case you missed the earlier series, Full Sail were able to take a 3-0 versus LSU. That was relatively close, at least in the respawns. And then we had Florida State not quite able to get the job done versus ULL. That one was also relatively close in the respawns. This one, not so much the case, because we had a round 11 search and destroy. Again, the 6-5 was the best chance that the Colonials had for Robert Morris. not quite able to close things out. And then the 250 to 114 BG win on Gunrunner Hardpoint. And then what we just previously saw, the 45 bomb from Des, 207, 145 to get the 3-0. Not a bad day at all. Again, we're trying to do our best to get caught up as far as the standings and kind of the win-losses that we've had so far in some of our squads. But we will be back next week for more collegiate Call of Duty action. Week 3 has got a lot of very good matchups that we're hoping to be able to bring to you guys on stream. Most specifically, the Illini Orange Squad going up against Concord Maroon. Would love to get that one on the stream for you. That's 2 undefeated squads in the Midwest. You also got Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Full Sail and Georgia Southern, just to name a few. That's been Proper. I've been I Hold Ship. Benji on production for you guys. A pleasure being with you throughout the evening. Hope you fun fans have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there, all you crazy college kids. Till next time, hope you keep holding it down. Later. Bye-bye.